Hey guys, my name is Sam.
And I'm Angela, and welcome to our channel.
Welcome to our Tennessee property. In today's video, we're going to talk to you guys and do a whole show and tell on how we picked our house location, where we're going to put it, and all that kind of stuff.
So we just drove in our new gonna-be driveway. We are gonna have a circle at the end, that way we don't have to worry about turning around and that type thing. And then here to the right is gonna be our house site. We wanted to put it in front of the woods and on this quieter road so we don't have as much traffic going by. No loud noises or anything like that. So let's take a look over here.
Go to the corner of the house, Steve.
Okay. So here is going to be the front corner of our house. We are going to kind of butt it up against the woods pretty close, just because we want to have a large space between us and the road. We like a little more privacy. We're trying to stay away from the neighbors, so we just want to have some space. But we do really like the woods, and we know the boys are going to want to play there, and we're going to want to entertain back here. So that's why we kind of pushed ourselves up against the woods.
Right here is the corner of the home, and it's going to be facing the road lengthwise and run this way. I was very picky about the orientation of the house. I didn't want it to be locked in with the road. This is going to face directly south. I have hopes and dreams that we will have solar and get to do that kind of stuff. So I want to go ahead and make sure the house gets lined up perfect for a solar array mount, whether it's going to be on the roof or just in the front yard. I know if it's lined up perfect south, it will be fine for my OCD. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Either way, this will be the front of the house. We'll have all of the front yard area to see. And like Angela said, we got the woods behind us. We also like this area because it allows us to have room to the other side of the driveway for workshops and probably sheep barn, chicken coops, all that kind of stuff. Kind of keeps them close but not right on top of us. But then also, as you can see from behind me, that's all of our property as well, and so it kind of puts us more sort of in the middle of the land. Here's another perspective. I'm back here at the corner of our woods. This is the place where we did our one-day woods clean out, and we've named this our tire swing tree. You can see the Jeep parked over there. That's on the other end of the home. So here's just another perspective of what it's kind of going to be like from behind the house a little bit. Angela said that the house is tucked up close to the woods. It's not super close. We wanted to make sure we were off enough that we didn't have problems with leaves and debris and, you know, junk from woods falling on the roof. But it is also not out there floating in the front field either. So pretty cool location. We definitely like this area right here where we are. It's private, it is shaded, and it is nice and quiet. It's really cool.
So over here is the house site, but let's go over to where our camper is going to be placed while we stay here on the weekends, and then while our home is going to be moved.
All right, Angela, tell them where we are now. Where in the world are we?
Right behind us, I don't know if you can see any little white flags, but this is where we're going to park the camper. And this will probably be its long-term storage place as well. It's going to be out of the way of the house site, so whenever the grading gets done for the house site and they come to move the house and put it in and everything, we are going to be totally out of the way and not have to worry about anything having to be moved or that type of thing.
Yeah, we definitely want to give ourselves enough room to have, we'll call it Base Camp Tennessee. We'll be set up, we'll have our camper and all that stuff, yet still have plenty of room for any kind of excavations and equipment and all that stuff to just Wreck-It Ralph over there and not mess with our mojo over here. It'll also become beneficial in the future because as we kind of curve over in this area, the workshops and things we plan on building are going to be behind me, so to kind of help round out the loop or balance the left and right side of the driveway, I guess.
Yeah. And while you may ask, well, where's the septic tank going to go? Are you going to be able to hook that up to the camper? That's not something that we're going to be worrying about right now. We have a dump tank, and so we will have a clean out that we can just put the stuff in the dump tank and take over to the septic tank when it becomes needed at that point.
Yeah.
As of right now, we're not having to do that, but like once a month, because we're only staying on the weekends.
Yeah,
So.
That's a good point. That's probably a question many people would wonder, you know, how are you going to hook your camper up to the septic? And we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing, which is kind of a boondock situation and taking it and dumping it as we need. So it's not bad. So as far as the layout of our property, we have pretty much a square, and we have put our home just about in the middle, left to right, and probably a little more forward from center than would be dead center of the square. We do like being on this side of the woods because of the southern facing exposure, the solar benefits we're going to be able to have. In addition, we do like this roadside better, and honestly, where we've picked the house, it's going to be probably close to 300 to 400 feet off the road, and that's plenty long enough whenever we talk about putting driveway, power, water line, all that kind of stuff in. We don't want to get too far off the road. It does also give us the benefit of having the woods behind us, which is a couple of acres at least, and then behind that we've got another field. So it's really, again, cool how much property we have compared to where we currently have 1 acre. And we feel like we've picked a pretty good place on the property for our house, our current mobile home, while still leaving us room if we ever get to fulfill our true dream of building our dream house. It still has a spot here. And then also additional room if the boys ever need anything in the future, and who knows whatever else comes down the pike.
So if you're seeing some of the aerial shots, you do see that there is a difference in what the land we're standing on right here that's green, and then the rest of the land is kind of a brown color. That's because that the farmers that we allowed to let them get their soybeans off, they came and tilled up to kind of like smooth out the rest of the field. That way they can plant seed and it's not full of ruts and that type thing. We didn't want anything disturbed up here because we had already picked out our house site, driveway, and the flags placed for it. So we said, you know, don't worry about over here. We will take care of the part over here. We don't want any of our flags and layouts messed up. So that's why there's 2 different colors. Right behind me is where we're going to hopefully do our circle driveway, which means it's going to have an area in the center that's green. We have hopes of possibly putting in like a red maple or something like that in the center, and I can do all kinds of landscaping, flowers, shrubbery, that type thing around it. We haven't really had much space or a good layout at the place we're currently at for much landscaping, especially considering how the sheep filled up most of the yard, especially in front of the house, that type thing. So I'm going to be able to do a lot more of that here, and I really look forward to it. One thing that we have talked about doing is also lining the driveway in trees. That's something that we've always kind of wanted, is to be able to drive in our driveway and have trees on either side, like the estates from the old South. And while it would take many, many years, decades to get the big trees, you have to start somewhere. So we're thinking smaller trees, of course. But we really like the look of maples for that as well, especially getting into fall when they're starting to turn the bright oranges, and they're just gorgeous. So we have lots of landscaping hopefully to come, and more beautifying of this property.
So it's really early to be able to say, you know, this is where we're going to put the animals, this is what we're going to do homestead wise, but I think some people are probably going to be wondering. So do you have any ideas, like roughly, approximately, where you may put the sheep or chickens or gardens or whatever?
What I've kind of pictured in my head is where our house site is on one side of the driveway, the other side of the driveway, which is going to be up against a neighbor, that's where we've thought about putting our sheep. Probably in like an electric net fence type thing where we can move them around a little bit easier and have like a mobile barn type thing, which will be totally new for us and something new to try.
Yeah. We have to add perimeter fencing. Well, okay, we don't have to add perimeter fencing, but we really, really, really want to. So that's going to be something we've got to do. But we think that we're probably going to get to a point where we're going to bring the animals over first. So the electric net fencing is pretty cool. So we figure we'll give it a try if we can. It's a low cost, low entry, and we like the ability that it gives us the flexibility to move them as well.
Right.
So I don't know, if it takes forever to get fencing done and they've chewed up this side of the field, we can move them over to the other and do more rotational grazing. It's just more beneficial. So
it is.
That'll be cool to try out. We've never had that, so we kind of look forward to getting to play around with that. And of course that's going to be probably solar as well. So one of the great things out here is there is a lot of sky and there's a lot of sun. So we're going to try our best to maximize using solar for as much stuff as we can, just because why not? Got the benefit, got the place, and I like the technology.
Our chickens can kind of go around anywhere in their chicken tractor, and we do plan to move them around because that's what we have the chicken tractor for. As far as the gardens, I've kind of pictured in the front yard, like in front of the house, we have, it's like probably 200 feet before the road, and so we have a lot of area there that we can do gardening. I also want to put in like pecan trees and that type thing, but that may take a while, and I've read that it can take 5 to 10 years to be able to get any harvest from pecan trees, so it's like, oh.
Nah, that just means start now. Go plant them right now. Let's go wherever, pecan store, man. I like the idea of having the gardens in the front of the home as well, because that's our southern exposure. That's where they need to be. Plus, I mean, hey, what else screams Homestead other than you driving by and, oh, there's gardens and animals in front of this place, and those hippies have solar panels. We can dream. We can dream. So coming back around to how we said we laid the house out facing due south, that's also played a part in our design to make sure that our homestead, as much as we can, is oriented to the sun for all the various things that you need the sun for to live with. Solar panel collection, how the light comes in and out of your home, gardening, structures, all that kind of stuff. We really lucked out the fact that facing south is also just the natural way we want to orient the place here. So for sure, we got lucky on that one, but it's also one of the considerations just to yak at a little bit more about orienting your home. You know, there's a lot of technologies and stuff about earthship homes and designs. That's not our cup of tea per se, because it's kind of hard to do that out here. But that whole mindset and technology goes into the fact of being aware and being conscious of how your home is laid out according to the sun, so you can maximize the solar gain and the heat and everything, and prepare and mitigate against winter as well. So we're trying to do that best we can. As best we can with an old 80s model single-wide mobile home, we're trying. All right, I believe we have covered everything that we can at least think about as far as laying out our homestead. And this is so preliminary, so disclaimer, subject to change. As you have seen throughout the background of the video, and you're seeing now, there might be some piece of equipment here out on the property for this weekend warrior project events we have planning. So definitely stick around if you're curious to see what the next stages are and what exactly that piece of machinery is going to be doing for us today and tomorrow, and well, the rest of the time we're here this weekend.
Thanks guys for coming along. Leave us any questions or comments below, and we'll see you guys next time on one of the homesteads.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, let's fire it up. Let's go.